On today's episode of The Front Row, we are at the Classical 105.7 studios in the Lubbock Cultural District in downtown Lubbock, and our special guest is James Eppler, who is the managing director and anchor of Fox 34's Good Day Lubbock. Many people will recognize James from there. He's also a board member of Civic Lubbock Incorporated, and I'm sure many other things that I'm not aware of, but he really is around town, and we're so grateful that he's been able to carve out a little bit of time for us today on the front row. James, welcome to the show.
So good to be here. Thank you for having me back.
Absolutely. For folks who might want to know a little bit more about you, more than just what's on Fox Television, tell us a little bit about you, your journey that has brought you to where you are in our community.
I'm born and raised in Lubbock, Texas. This is home to me. My wife is my high school sweetheart, and I'm sure she'll have us buried in our backyard someday. We're here to stay, and I love this town, and that's why a project like Lubbock Music Now is so important to me, because I really do believe in highlighting the best in what our community has to offer. Whenever I hear people complain about, there's nothing really to do in Lubbock, I hear that from some of my students at Texas Tech where I teach, and I say, okay, hang on. First of all, you're failing the class. But second of all, I think it's really important to just let not only people who live here and are from here know, but folks who are only here for a few months, to let them know what a great cultural heritage we have here in the arts.
I can't agree with you any more than that. That is absolutely true.
I could preach. You want me to preach? I will.
You're right. The history that has come through our community, the people who have been born and raised here and gone on to great things, is pretty staggering.
And the people who continue to stay here and do great things. You know, we have the West Texas Walk of Fame, where we can celebrate folks who, like you said, have gone on to do great things. But we have to really celebrate the people who have chosen to make their careers here and entertain our community and really bring a certain level to our quality of life. You know, we have folks who move to Lubbock all the time. Our economy continues to grow. And as more people move here, I think that having that entertainment scene and that quality of life is so valuable. It's not just from a quality of life perspective, but it's an economic driver too, and I really do believe that.
Right. It's economics and cultural life both, right?
Yes.
Exactly. So that is part of what you speak to, I guess, when it comes to Civic Lubbock Incorporated. Tell us a little bit about Civic Lubbock in general, just to give us a little bit of context.
So I served on the Civic Lubbock Board of Directors for 10 years. My term just ended this past fall. They had to cut me loose because those are the rules. You only get to serve 2 terms, kind of like the presidency or something. There are term limits. But I'm staying involved in some of the projects that they do, like the West Texas Walk of Fame, like Lubbock Music Now. A lot of the public art that you see around town, that's from Civic Lubbock, paid for by things like hotel occupancy tax money, grant money that Civic Lubbock provides. For example, if you go and see a show at the Civic Center Theater, portion of those ticket sales goes to Civic Lubbock so that it can be reinvested into the community. Civic Lubbock provides grants for all kinds of things around town, from Ballet Lubbock to Fiestas Patrias and Fiestas Italiano, those organizations, now heavily involved in Fourth on Broadway since Caldwell's folks have, since Don Caldwell died. Civic Lubbock took that on last year, and I think did a great job. And of course, we have the 250th anniversary of our country this summer, and I know that Civic Lubbock has a lot of great things planned for that too. So it's been exciting to watch this organization that I was involved with for so long just continue to thrive and grow and bring great things to our community.
Well, one of the things that you've done over the past several years is Lubbock Music Now. And I think this is a great way to spotlight our talent in the community. How did this come about? And tell us about your activity with that.
Well, with Lubbock Music Now, there was an idea that we should recognize the great music that we have here locally. And we mentioned the West Texas Walk of Fame, and that's great. A lot of people think it's only musicians that make it into the West Texas Walk of Fame. It's not. But we thought that we should do something to really celebrate the folks we have here. So in 2016, we did our first album. And so now this is a 10-year-old project that we've done an album every year. So the way it works is we put out a call around this time of year and say, hey, local artists, if you would like to be part of Lubbock music history, kind of a time capsule for this year. Send us an original song, and we have great participation from our local artists. This year, we had about 50 songs submitted for the 2026 album.
That's right.
And because of that, we have our biggest album ever. We have a 2-disc album this year with 20 songs on it, which we're really excited about. We keep making this thing bigger. So over 10 years, we've seen artists who are featured. We have a couple on this new album that were even on the first album. They've stayed here. They've continued to make great music. But every year we get new genres, new talent, folks that maybe people don't know about that we like to highlight. So our 20 artists this year really span so many different genres, because a lot of people think, well, Lubbock, that's red dirt country, right? Sure, yeah, we have a lot of that. That's probably our roots, but boy, we have some really cool stuff too from the hip hop community, rock, soul, all kinds of things. So if you go on your favorite streaming service, Spotify, Apple, whatever it may be, you can find our entire library of Lubbock Music Now albums. Just take a trip, man. Listen to what we've put together for 10 years. It's really cool.
That's great. Excellent. Well, what did you come up with for this year? Who are some of your featured artists?
So I will tell you that we have some returning favorites like Hannah Jackson,
right,
Dustin Garrett, some newer artists like Alicia Morgan. But then we have some folks who've never been on the album before. I would probably point you to Chad Miller and the Good Fortune. They're new to the album this year. The Barnharts are new. There's also a really cool band called Dayton and Good Company. They won the Battle of the Bands this in 2025 that Luca hosts. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of quality stuff. But along with all of the music that we have on here from current artists, we also have a track on the album for an artist who we lost. A few years ago, we started doing a memorial track on the album because, as I mentioned, so many artists do stay here in Lubbock and they finish their careers here. And so in past years, we've recognized Doug Smith. You remember him, great artist. Mike Pritchard, such a treasure. Of course, Don Caldwell. This year, we decided we wanted our memorial track to recognize Orestes West Garza. For those of you who don't know who West Garza was, he was a great local musician, featured regularly at the Cactus Theater, and in 2016, he was murdered. He was shot and killed, and it was a huge shock to the community, especially to the arts community in town, for so many people who loved West and his music. And so for the 2026 album, we thought, well, this is the 10-year anniversary that we lost West, and what a great opportunity to honor him. And so we contacted his family, and they gave us his track called I'm Not Worthy to put on this album. And it's the last track on the album, and it's a beautiful way to end it. Whenever we recognize an artist for the album, they get $200 in cash money just because we think that artists deserve to be paid for their work. And so every artist on this album who was chosen to be on it gets a $200 check from Civic Lubbock. We have so many sponsors that help make this possible. But we really believe that it's right that these artists get paid for their work.
Sure.
And so the West's family got that money, and everyone on this album has been paid for their work.
That's great. That's excellent. I love that you do that. As a musician, thank you very much.
Well, a lot of people think, it's you're getting paid because it's exposure, right? Well, no, exposure doesn't buy groceries. So if we want to practice what we preach, and if we want to really support artists, money talks.
Right. Well, you mentioned getting together and deciding about how to honor people and stuff like that. So there is a discernment process. You mentioned that there is a call that goes out for folks. How does that work? How do you have a call and then decide what you're going to do?
So you can submit a song right now if you wanted to. You can go to the Lubbock Music Now Facebook page or lubbockmusicnow.com, but we have a one-page form to fill out. Basic information, your name, who wrote the song, do you have the right, do you own the rights to the song? It's important that we point out that we are not making, you're not licensing the song to us. Mm-hmm. We're using it for this album. But we we take applications from artists. They have to meet certain qualifications. We want to make sure that these are artists who are currently gigging, they are playing, because we want to recognize working artists who are still making music. And once we take their applications, we take their song that they've chosen. And this year we had 50 songs. And those songs get narrowed down through a selection process. We have a group of current and former members of the Texas Grammy Board that makes these final selections. And they have their own kind of grading rubric, I guess you would call it. Yeah. It's based on their taste, but they rate it on a lot of different things, so that even if the song may not be their genre or their taste, how well is it produced and how does it work instrumentally? They're the experts on that. So there is some gravitas to this project, that this isn't just people who are sitting in a room who don't know anything about music just picking their favorite songs. We have experts who are deciding what are the best songs that we can put on here.
That's super. And it comes out with a great product, a 2 CD set. For people who are interested, we've whetted their appetite, as it were. How can they go about getting this CD set?
If you would like a hard copy of it, which I would recommend because it comes with fabulous cover art by West Texas Walk of Famer Dirk Fowler. He has done our albums since 2018. And if you go on Civic Lubbock's website or select a seat, we do have these albums for sale. And you can get a look at this beautiful artwork. Kind of think of the idea of grassroots music. That's what our album cover really speaks to this year. It really looks great. It pops. And I know that people aren't buying physical media anymore, but you know what? I am going to die on that hill. I'm going to keep buying physical media and CDs. And I've got a CD player at my house. We play it through our sound system. It's also, the Buddy Holly Center has some copies for sale. But if you go to Select a Seat Lubbock, we do have copies of this year's album and a lot of our previous albums for sale. And it's kind of like Happy Meal toys. If you'd like to collect them all, like Pokemon or something, they're available. You don't even have to work that hard to catch them. So,
great. Well, let me just say congratulations for this entire project and all the years that you've done it, 10 years.
Yes.
I think it's so great to celebrate our musicians. And I love that you honor them in this way, whether it's posthumously or whether they're active. I think that's so incredible. I think the discernment process is terrific. Just congratulations all around.
Thank you so much, Clint, and thank you for what you do to highlight the arts here in Lubbock. I think it's so important that we let the community know that we have so much talent here. And most of all, thank you to the artists who continue. Nobody does that job to get rich. You know what I mean?
That's right.
They're making maybe $75 a night playing bars or restaurants or for our entertainment. And it's hard work. And it's so appreciated. And to those of you, if you've ever bought a copy of Lubbock Music Now or just given us a stream on Spotify, the money that we make off these albums goes right back to doing future years of it. And we hope to continue.
Right. Lubbock Music Now is out with their latest edition, and it is available on Select a Seat, as James has just said. James Eppler is the managing editor and anchor of Good Day Lubbock on Fox 34. He's also a board member of Civic Lubbock Incorporated.
Former board member. I have to point out, they had to kick me off because my term was up, but I will stay involved, and I'm a Civic Lubbock guy for life.
Excellent. Great. And our guest on the front row today, James, thank you very much.
Sir, thank you.